your tithe and bring your shame. Bring your guilt and bring your pain. Don't you know that's not your name? You will always be much more to me. And every day I wrestle with the voices that keep telling me I'm not right. But that's alright, 'cause I hear a voice and he calls me every day. When others say I'll never be enough, and greater is the one living inside of me than he who is living in the world. In the your doubts and bring your fears. Bring your hurt and bring your tears. There'll be no condemnation here. You are holy, righteous, and redeemed. And every time I fall, there'll be those who will call me a mistake. Well, that's okay, 'cause I hear a voice and he calls me every day. When others say I'll never be enough, and greater is the one living inside of me than he who is your tithe and bring your shame. Bring your guilt and bring your pain. Don't you know that's not your name? You will always be much more to me. And every day I wrestle with the voices that keep telling me I'm not right. But that's alright, 'cause I hear a voice and he calls me redeemed. When others say I'll never be enough, and greater is the one living inside of me than he who is living in the world. In the your doubts and bring your fears. Bring your hurt and bring your tears. There'll be no condemnation here. You are holy, righteous, and redeemed. And every time I fall, there'll be those who will call me a mistake. Well, that's okay, 'cause I hear a voice and he calls me redeemed. When others say and
There you go. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for coming. While Kayla's family had a beautiful traditional service and funeral up north a few weeks ago, Kayla's family and I thought it would be just as important to have something here in Minneapolis, where Kayla resided. I sincerely hope this time, this service, will offer you the peace and closure I know Kayla would want each one of us to have. So thank you for coming out. I know the weather has not been really cooperative, but thank you all for being here.
Good morning, and I echo Patrick's welcome to you all. We gather this morning to mourn the death and celebrate the life of Kayla Jill Gunderson, daughter, sister, niece, friend, and partner. We gather to honor Kayla, to companion one another in our sorrow and in our love. We gather because we know that even in the shadow of death, the spirit of life demands to be heard. Please join me in a spirit of prayer or meditation. Spirit of life, may we bring into this time our open hearts and allow ourselves to feel the reality of absence. May we bring our open, hurting hearts and acknowledge that we gather in the presence of death. May we make room for acceptance and compassion as we mourn, celebrate, and remember. And now I'll read Kayla's obituary. Kayla Jill Gunderson, 45, passed away on January 8th, 2023 at her home in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Kayla was born on August 30th, 1977 to parents Marvin and Judy Gunderson in Elbow Lake, Minnesota. She was baptized at the Lutheran Church in Nashua, Minnesota, and she attended school in Elbow Lake and graduated from West Central Area High School in 1996 before going to college at St. Cloud State University and Concordia College. Kayla worked as a saleswoman for many years before moving to the Twin Cities, where she worked in retail. After several years, she decided to go back to school to be a librarian before switching her major to paralegal studies and receiving her associate's degree from North Hennepin Community College. Kayla worked her dream job as a paralegal in downtown Minneapolis before going to Hamline University to continue her education in paralegal studies. Kayla enjoyed going on walks along the Mississippi River, attending art shows, and going to comedy clubs. She loved her dogs and was an expert snowboarder. Kayla enjoyed listening to podcasts and reading her extensive collection of nonfiction books. She was a hard worker and self-motivated. Most importantly, Kayla was a genuine and caring person who was a best friend to everyone. Kayla is preceded in death by her grandparents Helen and Marvin Gunderson Sr., and Wilbert and Lydia Sperling, and her uncle Dennis Wolger. She is survived by her parents, Judy and Marvin Gunderson, sister Josie Gunderson, significant other Patrick Sutton, relatives Renee and Ken Green, Nikki and Brian Wiesner, Brad and Ann Green, Shirley Wolcher, Colleen and Mike Onda, Kurt and Renee Wolcher, Lowell and Teresa Sperling, Jimmy Sperling, and many, many extended family members and friends. A visitation was held on Friday, January 27th from 5 to 8 p.m. at Erickson Smith Funeral Home, and a memorial was held on Saturday, January 28th at United Lutheran Church in Elbow Lake. Memorials are preferred to the Grant County Humane Society of Elbow Lake. And now, Patrick's sister, JC, will share a reading with us.
Good morning, everyone. Josie chose this poem by Donna Ashworth to be read for Kayla. It's titled, You Don't Just Lose Someone Once. You don't just lose someone once, you lose them over and over, sometimes on the same day, when the loss, momentarily forgotten, creeps up and attacks you from behind. Fresh waves of grief as the realization hits home, they are gone again. You don't just lose someone once. You lose them every time you open your eyes to a new dawn, and as you awaken, so does your memory. And so does the jolting bolt of lightning that rips into your heart. They are gone again. Losing someone is a journey, not a one-off. There is no end to the loss. There is only a learned skill on how to stay afloat. When it washes over, be kind to those who are sailing this stormy sea. They have a journey ahead of them and a daily shock to the system each time they realize they are gone again. You don't just lose someone once. You lose them every day for a lifetime.
And now I'd like to share a reading called Words on Grief by the Reverend Kate Tucker, followed by a brief reflection. What helps when you are living with loss, grief, and great change? It helps to expect that you will be surprised. No one exactly like you has ever experienced a loss just like yours. Your inner clock, your inner landscape, your intimate story is yours and no one else's. It helps to understand that this will take you on an unpredictable journey, and that this change is a thing that happens in your body, not just your soul. It helps to know that your feelings can be complex and multiple. Sorrow and relief, love and anger, despair and hope can live together and yo-yo in astonishing ways. It helps when you welcome all the feelings, show them hospitality, and ask them to tea. It helps to give sorrow words, to tell your heart to those who know how to listen to you and to love you, the ones who don't mind at all when you repeat yourself. It helps to recognize that though your loved one dies, your relationship does not. It changes, it flows, it grows, it distills, it lives on. It helps to remember that there are things you will never know, never figure out, never reason your way to. You will never know what it was like for your beloved to live her life from the inside. This is a holy secret and a sacred mystery. It helps to remember that beauty does not die. It helps to know that when grief comes, it comes as teacher. It shows us what we fear and what we love, what we hold true. It tells us, if we listen, 100 ways to honor our loved one. It teaches us how we wish to live our days. A reading from Kate Tucker. It is never easy to lose someone we love. This is a fact. And grief is both a simple and a complex journey. It is simple in that at its core is the inescapable reality that a beloved person who was fully present, living in all their unique glory, has died. And grief is complex in the ways that the reading describes. Seemingly contradictory feelings arise and catch us by surprise. And each of us has our own unique journey in grief. There is no blueprint, no checklist, no timeline. The task of grief is paradoxical. It is to hold on to the parts of the deceased that we will have forever, the stories, the memories, their unique humanity that is our precious and priceless inheritance. And at the same time to honor and not diminish the depth of what we have lost. Grief invites us to hold sorrow and joy together at once, to accept that to love means to lose, and to know more deeply that life is indeed a sacred and fragile and beautiful gift. During our time together this morning, I invite us all to reflect together in gratitude for the gifts that Kayla gave us, the memories we shall cherish, and the inspiration she offered all of us. As we move into a photo presentation, I want to share that, as we all know, Kayla had an affinity for rescuing animals. There wasn't a rescue dog that Kayla did not love, right? Her rescue, Layla, the white Jack Russell Pit mix, was discovered at the Grant County Humane Society in Elbow Lake. Layla had been living there a year. Once rescued, Layla and Kayla were inseparable. And now we'll enjoy a photo presentation about Kayla and her love for rescues.
Spend all your time waiting for that second chance, for a break that would make it okay. There's always some reason to feel not good enough, and it's hard at the end of the day. I need some distraction. Oh, beautiful release. Memories seep from my veins. Let me be empty. Oh, weightless, and maybe I'll find some peace tonight. In the arms of the angel, fly away from here, from this dark, cold hotel room, and the endlessness that you fear. You are pulled from the wreckage of your silent reverie. You're in the arms of the angel. May you find some comfort here. So tired of the straight line, and everywhere you turn, there's vultures and thieves at your back. The storm keeps on twisting. You keep on building the lies that you make up for all that you lack. It don't make no difference. Escape one last time. It's easier to believe in this sweet madness, all this glorious sadness that brings me to my knees. In the arms of the angel, fly away from here, from this dark, cold hotel room,
Let it go. Let him go. He's fine. Yeah, I know. Did you see that launch?
I think it starts when it gets wet. Are you recording this?
Uh-huh.
Did you see that?
Layla. Thank you.
We go home, let's go get some water. Oh, that's not a good thing. Did you get the blood?
The blood?
Oh yeah, the blood. Look at the blood.
She's bleeding a little bit?
Just a little bit.
Well, it's always a good time when somebody bleeds. As you've all probably figured out, using that song was absolutely intentional. Kayla hated that commercial. It would break her heart. But I know she would be absolutely amused knowing now that you all won't be able to see that commercial, A, without thinking of Kayla, and B, asking yourself, why am I not adopting a dog right now? Kayla grew up in a small town of Elbow Lake, Minnesota, located about a half an hour northwest of Alexandria, Minnesota. Kayla would say always in kindergarten that she got a check minus for playing well with others. She also got a check minus for running with scissors. I guess that's frowned upon in kindergarten as well. Kayla's early childhood obsession ranged from Cabbage Patch Kids to Barbie. These would soon be replaced by her love for fashion. One time, her aunt brought home some clothes to her nieces and nephews, and Kayla looked right at her aunt and said, "These are for boys," and then threw the t-shirt to one of her cousins. Even in adolescence, Kayla had an eye for mixing and matching unique items to grab the eye. And of course, the black dress. Her style in shoes was unmatched, but here's what you might not know. Kayla didn't spend thousands of dollars to be chic. She was a hunter. She would scour thrift stores, discount stores, boutiques, going out of business stores, and wait for sales. I should know, I got dragged along to a lot of them. For Kayla, it wasn't just about the fashion, it was about playing the game. As she grew older, Kayla would spend the weekends at the family cabin. Kayla would tell me that she didn't have a lot of friends growing up, but she had a few and her sister, and that was enough. She would go on to college, and from Concordia, the Kayla we knew and loved was born. Kayla was as talented in the water as she was on top of it. She was an incredible swimmer, a lifeguard for a summer. She was also extremely gifted on the snowboard. Diamond, powder, moguls, it didn't matter. Kayla could absolutely shred. For a guy who could barely ski, I was quite aroused. I mean, amused, impressed. I was impressed. Are there any kids here, actually? No, she was an outstanding snowboarder. I remember Kayla, Josie took us down to some powder on the backside of a mountain once, and I absolutely just biffed it every 4 seconds. And then Kayla would come, she'd like pound, come up next to me, and she'd look at me and be like, ha ha, and then she'd keep going. Thanks, sweetie, appreciate it. But Kayla was not without her life struggles. Kayla suffered from extreme anxiety and depression. She would have an attack daily. Kayla called them her morning tears. More recently, Kayla also struggled with blood clots in her legs. Last year, some of you might know, Kayla required emergency surgery to remove a blood clot from her brain. During these struggles, Kayla still found to help others, to find homes for dogs, volunteer for political campaigns, and continue her education. Kayla received her associate's degree in paralegal studies with a 3.9 GPA. At the time of her passing, she was still enrolled at Hamline University, a semester and a half away from getting her bachelor's degree. Kayla had a never-ending desire for knowledge. Her book collection of nonfiction is quite impressive. Kayla focused on globalization, politics, and recovery. Kayla and I would often visit art museums, attend humanitarian speakers, and listen to podcasts. Kayla loved her podcast. Joe Rogan, Mark Maron, many others. Kayla and I would also go to comedy shows. Bill Burr, Doug Stanhope were her favorites. And on Friday night, Kayla and I would have a TV date with whom she referred to as her boyfriend, Bill Maher. From Kayla-isms, you know him when you hear him, to holding her cigarette between her middle finger and her ring finger, it made no sense. Kayla was the most unique individual I have ever known. She was so quick with her quips and retorts, she made me cry laughing out of nowhere. I took great pride in making her laugh until a snot would come out of her nose. Kayla loved to live, laugh, and love, and though she would roll her eyes at those inspirational quotes, Kayla did life her way. Here's Kayla and her family.
Well, I won't back down. No, I won't back down. You could stand me up at the gates of hell, and I won't back down. I'm gonna stand my ground. Won't be turned around. And I'll keep this world from dragging me down. Gonna stand my ground, and I won't back down. Hey, baby, there ain't no easy way out. Hey, I will stand my ground, and I won't back down. Well, I know what's right, and I got just one life in a world that keeps on pushing me around. But I stand my ground, and I won't back down. Hey, baby, there ain't no easy way out. Hey, I will stand my ground, and I won't back down. Hey, baby, there ain't no easy way out. Hey, I won't back down. Hey, baby, there ain't no easy way out. Hey, I will stand my ground, and I won't back down. No, I won't back down.
And now we'll move into a time of sharing of some personal stories. I'm going to invite some of Kayla's friends to come forth with their stories and remembrances. And first, I believe we have Jen Hultman is coming to share with us. Great, Jen.
Kayla was a beautiful soul, inside and out. She really did not have a mean bone in her body. Kayla was genuinely a true person. She was who she was, and there's nothing fake about her. That's what I loved most about her. We met in 2008. We basically had the same friend group. We had similar tastes in music. We both liked to have fun, and we just clicked. I was drawn to her true, unique, and vibrant soul. Kayla's voicemail was always full. I don't know if you remember that. You try to call her, and this mailbox is full. The poor girl had a horrible time with cell phones. She either lost it, it was stolen, or had water damage. So thank God for Facebook Messenger. She was always in school. She was lifelong in school the whole time I knew her. That would make her one of the smartest people I knew. Of course, she loved her dogs. I now have a dog of my own for the very first time, who is a rescue. I was really looking forward to lots of doggy play dates this summer, and her teaching me a few things about how to be a really good dog mom. Kayla, you left this world way too soon. We are all robbed of creating more fun memories with you. Continue to shine bright, beautiful soul. You are forever missed.
Thank you, Jen. And now JC will come up and read a letter from Brooke Hiltstenger Epperly, I believe. Yeah.
So Kayla's very good friend Brooke wrote this to be read here today. And Brooke says, "For Kayla, when I think of Kayla, I think of strength. Strength for her courage to try and overcome obstacles in her life. Strength for living her life on her own terms. Strength to show up when anxiety took over her mind and body. Strength to honor her love of learning and earn her degrees later in her life. Strength to take one day at a time. Strength to move forward when she had taken a step or few backward. And strength to live with her pain until the day she left us. Kayla was a good friend to many and brought many different people together. We share countless memories that I will remember for all my days. KJ, I will miss you more than I can comprehend. Love you, Brooke."
Thank you, JC and Brooke. And now I believe Christopher Mackner. Are you here, Christopher? We'll read a letter from Josh Maddox. That's right.
This is from Josh Maddox, for Kayla from Josh. Laughter, kindness, loyalty, fun, beauty, friendship, and a big smile. I met Kayla in 2007. We lived nearby in the same general neighborhood in Minneapolis. Laughter. Kayla had a way of finding humor in virtually everything, whether it was finding a self-deprecating moment or something I had done, or one of our mutual friends. It was going to be discussed, and it usually ended in smiles and acknowledgement that, yes, Kayla, that was funny. Kindness. Kayla had a strong presence and personality. Lurking just beneath was sensitivity and kindness. I always found that to be one of her qualities. Like all of us, Kayla longed to be understood. Loyalty. Kayla had been a good friend through thick and thin over the years. Even after I moved out of Minneapolis, it was usually Kayla who called on my birthday to say hi and catch up. Even after I pretty much had given up on birthdays. Always a surprise and always a cheerful call. Fun. Kayla loved social gatherings, meeting new people, and if it could be done with her dog, even better. Anything with paws and Kayla was fascinated. Kayla was beautiful and knockout. Her sense of style was remarkable, and one of her trademarks, ironically, she never talked about shopping or fashion with me, but she would just show up looking dynamite. I think her girlfriends know more about her methods, but when I think of the gatherings or social occasions, she delivered. She really lit up the room. Strength. Kayla's physical presence, mental fortitude was strong. She was a fighter. She never gave up. We will miss you, Kayla. Your spirit and friendship will not be forgotten, and we keep the light close to our hearts. Within the sadness of Kayla's passing is for me a sense of gratitude. I am thankful for the friendship, the communication, the good times, and even some lessons in difficult times. A prayer for Kayla. Gracious God, my heart grieves for Kayla, but I am also so saddened for her family and friends who are deeply impacted by this heart-wrenching loss. As these family members navigate their own pain and suffering, please remind them that you are near to comfort them as well. When they are overcome by sadness and fear, provide them with the reminder that you do not sleep or even take a nap. Instead, you are always alert and available to provide the strength they need. You are the only true source of healing and recovery. As they provide practical care and faithful service, please strengthen them when they are discouraged, as they lift their eyes to you. Remind them of your love and that empowering presence of your Spirit is available to them at every moment of each day. Amen. Rest in peace, Kayla. Love always, Joshua.
Amen. Thank you, Christopher and Josh. Now I'll invite Patrick back to share a couple more stories with us that he would like to share.
Got it? All right. Thank you. First of all, before I get into my story, I just want to say thank you, everybody, for coming. I really appreciate it. The love in this room is overwhelming. I've always been on that side, so I really appreciate you all being here. It's like it just happened yesterday, And by the way, I told Pastor Jill, she's like, well, so are you sure you're going to be okay? I'm like, I'll be fine. It's no problem. I got this. We know what happens when we say we got this, right? Usually something bad. So how I met Kayla. Kayla actually was a referral to my law firm. All of a sudden, I was working at my desk I was just kind of working. And all of a sudden, I was doing something, reading some paper, and all of a sudden, I looked up, and there was Kayla sitting right across from me. And Courtney, my paralegal, came in, or my assistant, she came in and she's like, I'm sorry, I tried to stop her, I really did. But she just came, she had to see you. And I'm like, oh, okay, so what are you here for? She's like, I need a job. Need a job. I'm like, well, what can you do? I can do it all. Do you know what kind of law I practice? Something about homes. You do something with homes. And I'm like, okay. And so at that point, I looked at Courtney. I was like, all right, Courtney, I got this. We're good. I'm like, who referred you? Like, what's your name? Where are you from? And so I ultimately didn't hire Kayla that day, okay? It looked like she was a little razzled, had some stuff going on, and I needed somebody at the time that was a little more low-key. But upon her leaving, I looked at my paralegal and said, well, I'm not going to hire her, so please let her know. I don't want her thinking that I'm going to. But let her know I'll date her. And ultimately, and then I didn't hear anything for 6 months, right? I didn't reach out to her to do any dating or anything like that. But I got a call from Anne Marie 6 months later, and I was at a party in South Minneapolis at somebody else's birthday party, and I got a call saying, hey, you need to come up here. I'm like, where are we going? We're going to the Northeast. We're going to go hang out with these friends of mine. I'm like, I already met your friends, Anne Marie, and I don't like them. I'm not doing it again. She's like, no. These are different friends. And so at that point, I got invited to go up to Kayla's condo. And I walk in, and there's literally there's a blonde, there's Anne Marie, another blonde, and then Kayla was over here. And I'm just like, this is a lot. It's like, what's going on here? Everyone's wearing like stuff like we're going to prom. I'm wearing jeans with rips through here, all right? I'm wearing a motorcycle jacket and a white t-shirt, right? And so I'm thinking, okay, this is way out of my league. And so Kayla comes into the room, takes one look at me, and she goes, yeah, that's not gonna work. Walks away. Comes back to the room and says, and then literally, didn't even hand it, she literally threw a shirt at me and said, put this on. I can't fix that business, but we'll see if that gets us in the club. We started dating ever since that moment. There was just a connection. There was, she was my yin, I was the yang. It was just, we were opposites. There's no doubt about it. Like, I'm a big sports guy. She could give a care less about sports. The only thing she liked about sports was Tottenham and Arsenal had the cutest soccer players. That was it. Only time she would watch a sports game with me is if Tottenham and Arsenal were playing. But we had a connection. I would go on to hire Kayla at my law firm. She wanted to go back to school. She just quit a job recently and wanted to go back to school. And I said, hey, I got some stuff you could work on. It's short sales. It's really complicated stuff. It's a lot of paperwork. I mean, an average file for a short sale would be about this thick from here down. And I had 2 paralegals working on it, and they didn't do a damn thing in 4 months. And I said, you know what? I'll give you a crack at it. Go for it. I needed somebody to work on it. And I taught Kayla probably half as good as I taught the rest of my paralegals. And she just took it and said, what's this, this, and this? And I'd answer her questions. And I kid you not, within 6 months, she closed 4 short sales. Made a lot of other people a lot of money, which was good for them. But she did an absolutely incredible job. She had binders. I mean, I remember there was like binders of just stuff just all over. But Kayla had it. She was able to just multitask and do those things. She was so brilliant, and I don't know if everybody knew that how brilliant she really was. Obviously I did the Angel Sarah McLachlan thing with Layla. She had a huge relationship with Layla. I knew my place early on with Kayla and Layla. Layla was not shy to let me know where I stood in the food chain or the hierarchy of our relationship. I would always be number 2. But I just absolutely loved them both. Her songs that Kayla would make up, she was huge in making up songs. She would sing them, I remember one time where Kayla got really mad at me for not waking up in the morning, but I took the dogs out at night, right? I went out at 11 o'clock at night. That was my job. I did night, which means I get to sleep in the morning, right? Because I get to set my own hours. I own my own firm. I can set my own hours. So if I want to sleep till 9 or meet clients after that, great. Kayla started getting really upset about this. And I was like 50-50, Kayla, come on. Like, I got night, you got morning. But for me, it wasn't about that. It wasn't about the job thing. What I found out later on was that Kayla really just loved me going out in the morning was because that was a moment that we had together. It was kind of like it was almost like her meditation, was to get up, take the dogs out. We'd go to this little place called Squirrel Land where we could let the dogs off leash real quick and let them chase squirrels up the vines, or we'd walk along out down the Mississippi. That was literally her favorite thing to do. Time to go, and I just remember how much she taught me, that it wasn't about just it wasn't about just job share in a relationship. It was about finding things that person loved and then be willing to do that with them, even if I don't want to in that moment. So she taught me a lot about that. Speaking of rescues, I remember there was a time where Kayla rescued a dog from Elbow Lake. There was a dog, and Josie knows this story. I did not condone this. I did not sign on for this, but I got a phone call before it was going to happen. But I didn't deter her either from doing this. There was a dog that was living up in a shed with a little bit of a fence around it. It literally had enough grass for like that little area right there. And it was covered in about 1.5 feet, 2 feet deep of feces, of dog feces. Okay? This dog had been completely neglected. And the fence, I can't remember how big the fence was. I still to this day don't even know how Kayla I don't know if she scaled the fence and then got the dog through it or what, I don't know. But Kayla would go into that yard. I got a phone call saying I'm going to take the dog. And Kayla had been talking about it. But I was like, it's breaking and entering, it's crime. It's, I'm a lawyer, I can't tell you to go do it. It's kind of my profession. But I'll defend you if you get caught, is what I was trying to tell her. But she went and took that dog. She said enough's enough and took matters into her own hands. And I know it was against the law, but there's a moralistic law. And I find that Kayla lived on the moralistic law. She lived on the natural law of order and things. And she was done seeing that dog suffer because it was really a couple blocks from her house up in Elbow Lake. And it didn't matter. That dog was out there in the winter, out in the rain, the mud, didn't matter. They stole it. She took the dog, rescued the dog, excuse me. Let me rephrase that. She rescued that dog, found a home for it. And ultimately, we got a picture from the family that adopted that dog. They ended up moving down to South Carolina. And they sent us a photo of that dog smiling from ear to ear. And it was standing on the beach on the Atlantic Ocean, living its absolute best life. That's the magic that Kayla could bring. And I will never forget that photo. I'll never forget that act. And I know Josie, her partner in rescue, will always remember that as well. Fashion, obviously we know Kay's love for fashion was not to be understated. When we moved in together, I was in for a shock. At any given time, there would be jeans in the freezer, shirts soaking in the sink, other shirts in a bucket for dyeing, clothes soaking and drying in the bathtub, or other clothes on the nightstand half sewn together. There'd be multiple drying racks throughout the condo. This is a one-bedroom condo, folks. This was not a lot of space. There'd be multiple drying things so that you could do it. So with Kayla's fashion, there was a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes that people didn't know. I got to know what that behind the scenes looked like. But it also taught me I had to up my game as well. Kayla taught me about clothes, shoes, thrift stores, giveaway area of the condo, Banana Republic. My whole wardrobe is pretty much Kayla. I own those before. Basically my suit is all I owned. Pretty much everything else on me is something that Kayla bought. I can't go to a clothing store now or a furniture store without thinking of her. She was my internal filter when it comes to style. I'll just tell 2 more stories and then I'll be done here. Let's tell 2 more stories. Everyone knows how Loki got his name, right? My dog Loki Monster, used to be named Elvis, but he was so bad in the first month that Kayla, and I kid you not, she called me up. I was on a trip. I got this dog. I had to go on a trip with my dad, and then I got to go on a trip with my dad. So I basically just dropped a rescue dog in Kayla's lap. And we know how much Kayla loved rescues. But she calls me up, and I'm in Alaska, and she goes, "I'm going to crush your dog's head with a brick." Apparently Loki was misbehaving. So she called him Loki Monster, but obviously Loki's doing just fine. But that dog challenged her rescue ability, but she still loved him. She loved kissing his big, big nose, made a bunch of songs about him. One more story here. Kayla had many Kayla-isms. One of Kayla's favorites was "you're a bad person," or badtimes.com, she would say. Or whenever she would do something dumb, she would say to me, "You're a bad person." But then our bad person hit a next level. The next level phase stemmed from leaving clothes in the washing machine. So Kayla's condo, the washing machine was like right next door to her place. And so we would drop clothes in the washing machine and then go take the dogs for a quick walk. And by the time we'd get back, then the clothes would be done, whatever. Well, apparently we must have taken a little too long on one of our walks. And we found a note on the washing machine from one of her neighbors. And that note said, "You're a dick, and no one likes you." This was brilliant. We thought this was hilarious. It became our mantra. Kayla, you loved used to say this to me in front of a cashier, gas station attendant, clerk, doctor's office, doesn't matter. Any particular social awkward position, she could do it. She'd look at me and be like, "You're a dick, no one likes you." And then you could imagine the cashier or the gas station clerk looking at me going, "Are you all right, dude?" It's our thing. It's a love. It's endearing. So Kayla used to just embarrass the living hell out of me when she did that. Absolutely just loved it. I will say this. I'm going to miss Kayla. She helped me face my fears. I was going to go on this gondola on this trip that I went out to go see my ma. And I asked Kayla. I said, "Kayla, should I do this?" I won't tell you the exact words that Kayla told me, but she told me to stop being a sissy and just go on the gondola. I'm going to miss Kayla so much. Last thing, Kayla's message: be kind, forgive, help others, love one another, volunteer, be a good person even when no one's watching, read and think for yourself, save dogs of all ages, even the Lokis, adopt, don't shop, treat yourself, buy the clothes or shoes and figure out where to wear them later. Guys, dress up for even the simplest dates, because date night's not for you. It's for your significant other. Kayla taught me that. Say what you feel. Your insides should match your outsides. Find laughter in your life. Find that South Park or Trailer Park Boys episodes that laugh you until you cry and snot comes out your nose. Open your heart even if you have been hurt before. Kayla accepted people for who they were, where they were in life. She taught us all how to love and be kind. For a quarter of my life, I got to be part of an incredible journey, a roller coaster of emotions, challenges, and achievements. I just wish I could have done it forever. While we didn't get our storybook ending of moving into Mexico and starting a dog rescue ranch with goats, I will cherish the time I did have with Kayla. Kayla will forever be part of my fabric, my energy, my spark that offers hope to others with her message and look fabulous doing it. Thank you.
Thank you, Patrick. And thank you to everybody who shared. It's so good to bring these stories of Kayla into this space and share our grief together. We've got just about 5 minutes for if there's 2 other folks that want to share any brief stories. There will be lots of opportunity for more sharing of stories downstairs after the service. But if there's anybody else who wants to share a very quick story, I could bring a mic out to you. And it's fine if not. There will be time afterwards for more sharing. Anybody? Okay. Yep, all right. Yep.
Okay. Good morning. My name is Jimmy. I'm her cousin. We grew up together on the farm. Wow. Looking outside, you see it snowing, and I know that Kayla would be in heaven in this powder. Growing up, we had the summertime, the fall, winter, we had all the seasons, obviously, up here in this beautiful Minnesota that we have, right? But I remember quite a few things, as we all do. First thing I'd like to ask is, how many of you, show of hands, real quick, either thought about got or is going to get a rescue. I did too. It's all because of Kayla. This was in the last 3 weeks. A little mutt, name's Lena, cutest dog in the world. So that's thanks to Kayla and her love for animals. However, I was talking with Patrick. Their goat farm, dog rescue with goats. No chickens. No chickens. She hated chickens, right? We all knew she hated chickens. I think Kayla or Josie might remember this. As kids, we had chickens on the farm. What do we do with chickens on the farm? We butcher those things, right? Yeah, that's probably why Kayla doesn't like chickens, is watching the flop, that's probably why. Love to talk. I mean, the other show of hands is how many lifelong friends have we met now through Kayla? I have. She was inspiring. She was courageous. She'll always have a special place in my heart amongst everybody else's heart. I'm sure of it, right? I could talk to you about going to the lake and having to split wood with Uncle Marvin before we get to go swimming. Mowing lawn. He taught us good work ethic, I think. So many stories. I look forward to listening to all of them downstairs or at the fellowship afterwards. But I just wanted to say, we're going to miss her, going to love her. I love you, Kayla. I wish we could have gotten together a hell of a lot more now like we were when we were kids.
Thank you, Jimmy. All right. And now I'll share a reading called Farewell, My Friends by Rabindranath Tagore. It was beautiful as long as it lasted, the journey of my life. I have no regrets whatsoever said. The pain I'll leave behind, those dear hearts who love and care, and the heavy with sleep ever moist eyes. The smile, in spite of a lump in the throat, and the strings pulling at the heart and soul. The strong arms that held me up when my own strength let me down. Each morsel that I was fed was full of love divine. At every turning of my life, I came across good friends, friends who stood by me, even when the time raced by. Farewell, farewell, my friends. I smile and I bid you goodbye. No, shed no tears, for I need them not. All I need is your smile. If you feel sad, do think of me, for that's what I will like. When you live in the hearts of those you love, remember then you never die. And we'll have our final photo presentation here. While Kayla left this life too soon, she lived a full life in her time on this earth. She got to experience many cultures from all over the US and Canada. She met so many friends along her journey. Kayla cherished all of her friendships. This is why we are here today. You all were Kayla's life force. And so here's a photo presentation about Kayla, her life, her friendships, and her life's energy.
Hope when you take that jump, you don't feel the fall. Hope when the water rises, you build a wall. Hope when the crowd screams out, you're screaming your name. Hope if everybody runs, you choose to stay. Hope that you fall in love and it hurts so bad. The only way you can know I live. Hope that you spend your days, but they all add up. And when that sun goes down, hope you raise your cup. Oh, I wish that I could witness all your joy and all your pain. But until my moment comes, I'll say I lived. I swear I lived. Every broken bone. I swear I lived.
Our closing reading is titled Funeral by Rupi Kaur. When I go from this place, dress the porch with garlands, as you would for a wedding day, my dear. Pull the people from their homes and dance in the streets. When death arrives, like a bride at the aisle, send me off in my brightest clothing. Serve ice cream with rose petals to our guests. There's no reason to cry, my dear. I have waited my whole life for such a beauty to take my breath away. When I go, let it be a celebration, for I haven't been here, I have lived. I have won at this game called life.
I offer these words as a closing prayer or meditation. Now the work is left to us, the living, to carry forth the beauty and joy of that life which has been taken from us. May we go forth in love, acceptance, and compassion for ourselves and for others. May we know ourselves both loving and beloved. And may the love of friends and dear ones and the radiance of memory comfort and sustain us in this hour and in the days to come. Amen. And now, on behalf of Kayla's family, I want to thank you all so much for your presence here today. It means so much to show up, and we're so glad that you were able to share this time together in this space. And now we invite you downstairs for desserts and refreshments, and to continue sharing stories and honoring and celebrating dear Kayla.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to get through this thing called life. Electric word, life, it means forever, and that's a mighty long time. But I'm here to tell you, there's something else. The afterworld. A world of never-ending happiness. You can always see the sun, day or night. So when you call up that shrink in Beverly Hills, you know the one, doctor, everything will be alright.